This is the sixth dialogue between J. Krishnamurti and David Bohm in Ojai, California, 1980.
Well, yesterday I was discussing with some people in San Francisco and said, that you had said that insight changes the brain cell. They felt very interested, but I wasn't able to say a lot more. I wonder if we could discuss that.
As it is constituted, the brain has functioned in one direction: memory, experience, knowledge, and has functioned in that area as much as possible.
Yeah.
And most people are satisfied with it.
Well, they don't know of anything else.
Anything else. And also, they have placed knowledge as supremely important, and so on and so on. If one is concerned with a fundamental change, where does one begin? I suppose X feels he's going along in a certain direction set by mankind, and he has been going there century after century. And when he asks himself what is radical change, is it in the environment? Is it in the human relationship? Is it a sense of love which is not in the area of knowledge and so on? Where is it to begin? You understand my point? Unless there is some mutation takes place inside here, inside my mind, brain, I'll go on. I may think I've changed, or it may be a superficial change, but it won't be change in depth.
Yes, well, I think the first thing is to say that what's implied there is that the present state of affairs involves not only the mind but also the nervous system and the body.
Of course, all that side.
All is set in a certain way.
Yes, that's what I meant. The whole movement is a certain way.
Yeah.
And along that way, I can modify, adjust, polish, little more, little less, and so on. But if a man is concerned with a very radical change, where is he to begin? That's as we said the other day, we've relied on the environment to change us, society to change us, various forms of disciplines, and so on. But I feel they're all in the same direction.
Yes, well, insofar as they all emanate from the same way the mind is set and the body is set, they're going to not change anything. No. There's a total structure involved, which is in the brain, in the body, in the whole of society.
Yes, yes. Now, so what am I to do? What is X to do? And he's asking this question, what is there to change? You understand, sir?
What do you mean by that? What is there to change? What is to be changed? Or?
Yeah, what is to be changed? Both what is there to be changed, and what is there to change.
To make the change?
Yes.
To make the change.
To make the change.
Yes.
Not only to make the change, but
to undergo the change.
Yes. What is there to change? X sees it can change certain things along this way. But to go much further than that, what is one to do? I'm sure man has asked this question. You must have asked it, philosophers have asked it. But apparently, the mutation doesn't take place. So what is X to do? He realizes the need for a radical revolution, a psychological revolution. He perceives the more he changes, it is the same thing continued. More he inquires into himself, the inquiry is still the same. And so on, so on. So, what is there to change? Unless X finds a way to change the brain itself.
All right. But what will change the brain then?
That's it. The brain that has been set in a pattern for millennia, you see it?
Yeah.
I think it's no longer why should I change. It's imperative that
Yes, well, say in discussing yesterday, it was agreed that there must be a change, but there was the question is how can the brain change, you see?
That's right. One must introduce to come to that point.
Yeah.
If this question is put to you as a scientist or as a human being who is involved in science, what would your answer be?
Well, I don't think science can, it can deal with that because it doesn't go far enough. It can't possibly probe that deeply into the structure of the brain anyway. And there, many questions are puzzling there, the relationship of brain and mind, which science has not been able to resolve. Some people would say that there's nothing beyond the brain, and therefore there's no meaning to your question, right?
Purely materialistic, I understand all that.
Yeah, now, if it's not materialistic, then for the moment science would have very little to say about it. Maybe some people would try to, but you see, science generally has been most successful and most systematic in dealing with matter. And any attempt to do otherwise is not very clear,
Quite. You tell me, I'm the X. You tell me, insight changes the structure in these brain cells and so on. My immediate question is, response to that is, how?
Yes, I mean, that's what everybody asks, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Everybody asks that. How? It's not a matter of faith. It's not a matter of changing the pattern to another pattern. So you leave me without any direction, right?
Right.
You leave me without any instrument that can penetrate this.
Yes, except that you're implying that there is something beyond the brain. It seems clear that in putting that question.
But I don't know if there is anything.
We don't
beyond
know,
the
but
brain.
I mean, the very statement implies that insight is somehow beyond the brain, or else it couldn't change the
Yes,
brain, right?
Yes. So how? That's it. How am I to capture it? Knowing I can't capture it.
How will it come about, right?
Yes, how is this to come about?
But I think that one should clear up that you're saying that something which is non-material can affect matter. You see, this is the implication.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but I mean, I think clearing this up would help make it more clear what your question is. You see, it's somewhat puzzling if we don't.
Now, all that you have said to me is insight brings about mutation in the brain.
Yes.
Now, and you explain what your insight is, which is not a result of progressive knowledge.
Yes.
It's not a progressive time, which is not a remembrance, which is not which may be, you point out, which may be the real activity of brain.
All right, you say, let's put it differently, that the brain has many activities which include memory and all these you've said, and in addition there's a deeper or more inward activity, but it is still the activity of the brain.
Then it will be the same.
Yeah, well, all right, but you see, that's what's not clear. You see, in putting this thing, something seems to be not quite clear.
Yes. No, I must be very clear that it's not the result of progressive knowledge. It's not come by through any exercise of will.
Yes. But I think people can generally see that insight comes in a flash. It does not come through will, you see.
Yes.
And those who have considered it at all can see that. Also that probably chemistry won't bring it about, drugs,
Yes, I think most people see that.
Yeah.
Not most.
Those who are concerned. Right?
Some people do see it. How am I, X, to have this insight? I see your logic, I see the reason, you follow all this.
In some ways it may disturb people, it's not clear what the logic is, in saying, what is going to make this change in the brain? Is it something more than the brain? Is it something deeper in the brain? You see, this is one of the questions
Of course.
Which is not quite clear logically.
Are you saying, sir, that there is a function of the brain which acts without reference to its content?
What?
Is there a function of the brain, a capacity in the brain, to act without any reference to its content?
To the past, to its other,
Its
to the content.
Yes,
Okay.
it bypasses
Right.
that, acts without it. but that this isn't something that is changing the whole brain, coming into the brain, but it is a capability of the brain to
Now
see.
you're asking something very quite.
Is that it?
Is that what you said?
Well, that's a good question. Yes, it's on the right line, as far as I see. Then, is there a function in the brain which is independent of the content, which is not conditioned by the content, but it might still be a physical function? I mean,
Yes, I understand the question. Right, Joe. Sir, is this the question? Apart from the consciousness with its content, is there in the brain an activity which is not touched by consciousness?
well, by the content, you mean?
By the content, yes. Content is the consciousness.
Yes, but sometimes you use it in another sense. So sometimes you talk that consciousness, there could be another kind of consciousness.
Yes, but we leave that for
Yeah,
the
but
moment.
so if we called it content, it would be more clear. You
All
see.
right. Part of the brain which is not touched by the content.
Yeah. All right, then we could start there to say that suggests that it may be possible for the brain to change. You see, that either the brain is entirely controlled by its content, or in some way it is not that conditioned. It has some part.
That's a dangerous thing.
But that's what you're saying.
I'm seeing the danger of it. I'm moving away from it. I see the danger of admitting to myself and so trying to tell somebody else, admitting to myself that there is a part of the brain,
Or a function, an activity.
an activity of the brain which is not touched by the content.
Or at least it's a possible activity. It may be that it has not been awakened.
It has not been awakened. And that's right.
But what is the danger?
That's simple enough. The danger is that I'm admitting there is God in me. That there is some superhuman, something beyond the content. And therefore, that will operate on this, or that will operate in spite of this.
But which part of the brain sees the danger? Is it that part?
Now slowly, which part of the brain that sees the danger? Of course, the content sees the danger.
Does it?
Yeah, because the content is aware of all the tricks it has played.
That's similar to many of the old tricks.
Yeah.
But doesn't
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead with the opportunity.
Well, I just say that those tricks we've discussed before, namely that we assume the assumption of God within, and then the imagination of God within, and therefore the apparent proof. There is a danger, obviously.
But you see, could the brain, seeing the danger, make that statement nevertheless? Because that statement nevertheless might point into the right direction.
Yes, the point is, even though it's dangerous, it may be necessary to do so.
Yes.
It may be on the right track.
No. The danger is that it's not only traditional, not only man has thought about it and previous to X has said this thing exists, therefore the unconscious, which part of the content, is capturing that and says yes. So it sees the danger instantly.
It sees its own trap.
Yes, it sees the trap which it has created.
Yes.
Right, sir?
Right. Yeah.
So it avoids the trap. Well, that's sanity. To avoid a trap is sanity.
Yes.
Is there an activity which is totally independent of the content? Which we are saying, that activity, is it part of the brain?
Is it a natural activity of the brain,
Yeah,
of the
natural
material in the brain?
yes.
That,
Which means what?
well, if there is such a natural activity, it could awaken somehow, and that activity could change the brain. You see, it could change.
But it is still, would you say it is still material?
Yes, so that there could be different levels of matter. You see.
That's all I'm trying to get at.
Yes.
Right?
Right. But you see, if
So
you think
the
that
fun
way,
is-
there could be a deeper level of matter which is not conditioned by the content. You see, for example, we know matter in the universe is not conditioned by the content of our brains generally, and there could be a deeper level of matter not conditioned that way, which could take a...
So it would still be matter.
Yes.
Refined or super or whatever. It's still that what I'm trying to find out, it would still be the content.
Well, why do you say that? You see, you have to go slowly, because why do you say matter is content?
Yes.
Inherently, but then you have to, then that has to be cleared up, because
let's clear it
it's
up.
not obvious, right?
Let's discuss it. It's
Yeah.
all good, this.
Mm-hmm.
Thought is matter.
Well, all right, thought is the content is part of a material process. You
Yes.
see, whether it exists independently as matter is not so clear, you see. Like if you say water is matter, then you can pour water from one glass to another. It has an independent substance, but it's not clear whether thought could stand as matter by itself, except with some other material substance like the brain in which it takes place. Is it clear what I
I don't quite follow.
You see, if you say water is matter, then it's clear. You say you could take water and it stands inside wherever it is in the ocean. Now, if you said thought is matter, then thought must have a similar independent substance.
I don't quite follow this. Sorry.
Well, you say air is matter, right? Water is matter, right? Now, waves are not matter, but they're just a process in matter. Right?
Yes.
Is that clear what I mean?
Yes. Wave is a process
In matter.
in matter.
A material process. Now, is thought matter or is it a process in matter?
May one ask, is electricity considered matter?
Well, if insofar as there are electron particles, it's matter, but it's also a movement of that, which is a process.
So it's two things.
Well, it can form waves of electricity and so on, you see, as
the
well.
waves would be the matter, but not the electrical action, whatever you call it.
Well, the electrical action is like a wave, but you see, the electricity consists of little particles.
Sir, what is your question you just asked me?
Is thought matter, or is it a process in matter? For example, in the matter of the brain, or elsewhere.
Is thought
Is thought a material substance, or is it a process in some other material substance, like the brain?
it's a material process in the brain.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, scientists would generally agree with that. You see, if you say
Let's stick to that.
if you said it was matter, they would become very puzzled. You see.
Yeah. I see.
It doesn't exist apart from the brain cells. It resides in the brain. It's
That is, thought is a material process in the brain.
Yes.
Yes, that would be right.
Yes.
I mustn't go into it. I was making
What?
an irrelevant joke. Sorry. Material process in the brain. That's quite right. Then, can that material process, is that material process independent Can that material process ever be independent?
Independent of what?
Independent of something that is not a material process. No, wait, I must go slow. I know what I'm trying. I know what I'm trying to express. I must be careful. That's all I know, right?
Right. Well, what do you know?
Material process in the brain.
Yes. Okay.
To which we agree.
Yes, you would get fairly wide agreement on that.
On that, yes. Our question is, can that material process in the brain bring about a change in itself?
That's the question, yes.
Wait. In itself, and if that material in itself can change, it will still be a material process.
Yes.
Right?
Well, the thought is always going to be a material. It's inherently a material process.
So it will still be a material process.
Yes.
And therefore it's not insight. We must come back to that.
All right,
point.
now you're saying insight is not a material process. That is what you seem
I
to
just
be
want
saying.
to go slow.
By saying therefore.
And I know, I'm sorry. I must be careful using right words. The thought is a material process in the brain. And any other movement springing from that material process is still material process.
Yes, it has to be.
Has to be, right. And is there another activity which is not a material process?
Right. Well, of course, people have asked that question for ages.
I know this has been...
Yeah, I mean, whether there is spirit beyond matter, right?
Yeah, I know spirit, Holy Ghost. Is there material process in the brain? Is there some other activity which is... It cannot be related to this, to the material process.
Well, it cannot depend on it, we want to put it. This insight cannot depend on the material process, or else it would be just another material process.
Yeah. So, it cannot, it cannot be dependent on the... Insight is not dependent on the material process.
Yes.
Which is thought.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But you're saying the other way around, that the material process may depend on insight, may be changed by insight.
Yeah. Wait. Material process is dependent on it.
Yes, that's what
and not that dependent on this.
Yes, that's what you're saying, isn't it?
Yes. Now slowly.
Yeah. Now you see, yes. Generally speaking, people would not see how something non-material could affect something material, you see.
Yes, quite.
It might be easily agreed that something non-material is not affected by matter, but then how does the operation work the other way?
Mm-hmm. What do you say? The brain is thought is a material process with its content. Any activity from that is still part of that.
Yes.
Right. Now, is insight part of that?
Well, we've agreed it's independent of that.
Huh?
We've agreed that it takes place independently of that. It can't be part of it.
That's right.
But there's something the other way that it still can do. It can still act within the material process. That's the crucial.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It is independent of the material process, But yet it can act upon the material
Yes,
process.
now let's discuss that a little. You see,
Yes, be careful. We mustn't enter into the Holy Spirit.
no, but not going to science. Generally speaking, in science, if A can act in B, there's usually a reciprocal action of B on A. We don't find situations where A acts on B and B never acts on A.
I see.
This is one of the difficulties that
I understand.
will be raised.
But B can act on A.
Yeah, but we don't find this elsewhere. You see, we generally find that if B acts on A, then A can act on B. You see, in
Yes,
human
correct.
relations, if I can act on you, you can act on me, right?
Yes. But if I don't act, if I don't say, we say human relationship interaction.
Yeah, it's mutual relationship.
Mutual relationship. In that relationship, there is response and so on. Now, if I don't respond to your action, I am independent of you.
Yes. Yes, I think that if we're trying to make this clear in science, science generally finds that this situation is not possible to have a one-sided action.
Action, quite. I understand. I understood it. So we are continually insisting that the material process must have a relationship to...
Well, in action, we'd rather use the... See, relationship is an ambiguous word here. If you said action, it would be more clear.
All right. What is it? The material process
must be able to act.
Must be able to act on the non-material, and the non-material must act on the material.
Yes, but that would make them both the same.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well,
not necessarily. You see, could one envision maybe that insight is a much larger movement than the material process of the brain, and therefore that much larger movement can act on the smaller movement, but the smaller movement cannot act on the larger movement.
Well, yes.
That's what we are saying, the same thing.
Well, that's why the small movement has no significant action on the large movement. Like you can have a situation if you drop a rock in the ocean, the ocean absorbs it with no significant.
That's right.
Quite.
So then they would still have an action among themselves, but there's only one action that is significant.
No, don't be careful. I don't want to answer to that too quickly. So, love has no relationship to hate.
But again, it's the word relationship. You see that
Action.
would you say hate has no action on love?
No, they are
They're independent.
Independent.
They have no action on each other. Right.
This is important to discover this. Love is independent of hate. Where there hate, the other cannot exist. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, they can't stand side by side acting on each other.
No, they can't.
No.
So when you scientists say A must have a relation to B, B must have a relation to A, right? We are contradicting that. Love is...
Well, not all scientists have said that, but of course a few have said otherwise. If you... I don't like to bring in Aristotle, but he said
Bring in Aristotle. Both of you.
There's an unmoved mover, you see. That is, he says that God is never moved by matter. He is not acted on by matter, but he acts, do you see? So
Yeah.
that's an old idea then, that there is, see, since that time scientists threw
Well,
out
this is an old Indian idea too.
They threw out Aristotle, you see, and said that's impossible.
Now, if I see clearly that love, independent of hate, hate cannot possibly act on love. Love may act on hate.
Right.
Or where hate is, the other cannot be.
Well, those are two possibilities. Which are you saying?
What are the two possibilities?
Well, you said one is love may act on hate, or the other is they have no action at all on each other.
Yes.
Now, which?
Oh, I understand. No, sir. Love cannot act on hate.
Right. They have no relationship.
No.
But perhaps insight could, you see.
I'm coming slowly.
Yes.
I'm moving, edging our way into
Yes.
it. I want to be quite clear on this point. Violence and to be without violence are two entirely different factors, right?
Right.
The one cannot act upon the other.
No, well, in that case, you could say the existence of the one is the non-existence of the other.
Yes.
And there's no way to act together.
That's right.
They cannot be there together.
Right, absolutely. I'll stick to that. So, where there is this material process in action, the other cannot exist.
Well, then you're going to say that about what is the other this time? Insight or?
Yes, yes.
But then that sounds as if insight cannot change that material process.
Huh?
Well, that denies what we were saying before, that there is an action from insight to the material process.
Now steady.
Yeah.
Yes. If violence, where there is violence, the other is not. Right? The non-violence, I hate to use that for non-violence. Whatever the idea.
Well, peace.
Huh?
Peace.
Peace.
Well, I know. I mean, order, harmony, right?
Yeah. Where there is violence, peace cannot exist. But where there is peace, is there violence? No, of course not. Huh?
No.
So, peace is independent of the other.
Yes.
Now we are always saying the material process being independent of insight.
Well, we didn't say that. We said it might depend on insight.
Yeah, suppose I'm saying, suppose for the moment, independent of insight, then insight cannot act
No, that's true, yes.
on the other,
If that's the case, right?
if that is the case.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let me take a breather.
Right,
You
take a
carry
little
on.
rest, yeah.
Just
So we'll just rest a little while.
What?
I say we'll rest a little while.
Would you like a glass of water?
No, thanks. I know, it's just.
So not to discuss, but you've said so many times that intelligence can act upon thought. Insight can affect thought, but it doesn't work the other way around. You said this in
Yes,
many forms.
where ignorance and intelligence. Intelligence can wipe away ignorance,
That's clear,
but
yes.
ignorance cannot
Touch.
touch intelligence, right?
Right.
Where there is love, hate can never exist, right?
Well, as long as there is love, eh?
Yes, I'm saying that.
Yes.
But if love, can love wipe away hate?
Well, that we said that doesn't seem to be possible. I mean,
It doesn't seem possible.
because that hate seems to be an independent force.
Of course, of course it is. Sorry, you just carry on 2 minutes.
Is there a question of volume then?
What?
Is there a question of volume? In other words, if love can't wipe away hate, can there be enough units of love to supplant hate?
Well, I don't know, right?
Measure love.
I mean, well, that's what I'm saying. Are we talking about a physical possibility?
Well, I think that hate goes on its own independently.
I come back, sir.
Right. You know, that it isn't it has its own momentum, you see, its own force of movement, self-movement.
But I don't quite get the relationship with this love and hate, independence, with this other discussion of insight.
Well, that's
affecting.
Well, that's what we've been trying to get at, you see,
Yes.
that there seems to be
two different
two
areas.
different areas.
It's an exploration, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Movement of thought is a movement, and insight seems to be a non-movement, where everything seemingly is at rest and it can observe movement.
Yes, well, that's what we're trying to get at. I mean, the notion of something which is not affected by anything else. You know,
Or anything else can affect it.
But aren't we then saying, though, if we look at this love-hate thing, aren't we then in essence saying there's good and there's evil, and evil is a completely separate, independent force on its own, of its own?
well, it's independent of good. You see that.
But I mean,
But is it a process in the mind, or is it related to insight? Love and hate.
well, we're coming to that. You see that.
We're at the place of light and dark. The light
Yeah.
appears as darkness is gone.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going.
but in a way, it's just like a pattern of duality, then, isn't it? When we say there's good and there's evil, and they're completely separate,
Sorry.
and one is completely independent from
Well,
the
one
other.
where one is the other, where one is the other can't be. You see, that's all we're saying so
Oh,
far.
I see.
There's no relationship
No.
between the two.
You mean in a single brain?
In any brain, yeah, or in any group or anywhere. Well, wherever there's hate going on in the group, there's not love. Right?
Sir, I just thought of something.
Mm-hmm.
Not thought of it, I just came to my mind. Love has no cause, right?
Right?
Hate has a cause.
Yeah,
Insight has no cause,
well, that's right. Yes,
right? The material process, as thought, has a cause.
yes. Well, it's part of the chain of causation. Yes.
So, that which has no cause, can it act ever upon that which has a cause?
Well, it might. I mean, as far we see that the insight might act on to change the.
I just want to go slowly into
Yes.
this.
You see that we can see no reason why that which has no cause might not act on what has a cause. You see, there's no obvious reason. It won't happen the other way around. You see, what has a cause cannot act on what has no cause, because that would deny the whole thing, right?
Yes, that's right. But apparently, I'm just using, apparently, the action of insight has an extraordinary effect on the material process.
Yes, so as to change the whole causal.
Yes.
It may produce, it may wipe out some causes, for example.
It wipes out. I know what wipes
Right.
out. Slowly, I want to go slowly. It wipes out, as insight is causeless, if it's not born out of cause, that insight has a definite effect on that which has cause.
Yes, well, it doesn't follow, but it's possible. I mean, you put it as if it followed necessarily, but it doesn't follow. So far, it doesn't follow that. But we say it's possible.
No, I don't say it's possible.
Yes, but I'm saying we haven't quite seen why it's necessary.
Yeah. Well, let's say that possible. I can't admit a possibility in this.
Well, no, we're just saying that there's no contradiction. When we say the word possible, I merely mean that there's no contradiction in saying that insight acts on.
I see, I understand. All right. As long as we're clear on the word possible.
Yeah.
No, you must be careful. Love being without cause and hate has a cause.
Yes.
The two cannot coexist.
Yes, that's true. That's why there's a difference, you see, between love and insight.
Yes.
That's why it doesn't follow necessarily that if something has no cause, it will act on something that has a cause.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to say.
I just want to explore a little more. Is love insight?
Well, as far as we can see, it's not the same exactly. It may love may involve love is not identically the same as insight, is it?
Love is. What is the question?
Well, you asked, is love insight? Right?
Yes, I asked that.
Now, at first sight, we see that they're not necessarily exactly the same thing.
Why?
Right. Well, insight may be love, but you see, insight also occurs in a flash. You see, for example.
It's in a flash, of course.
Yes.
And that flash alters the whole pattern.
That's right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But that flash operating on the whole pattern uses the pattern in the sense in argue, reason, logic, and all that. I don't know if I'm making myself.
Yes, well, I think once the flash has operated, then the pattern is different, right?
Yes.
And therefore, it would be more rational. I mean.
No, what I'm trying to say, you have a flash.
Yeah.
But you can be logical.
Yes, well, the flash may make logic possible because you may have been confused before the flash, you see. Right?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Aristotle may have come to all this by logic.
Well, he may have had some insight. We don't know him.
We don't know, but I'm questioning it.
Yeah, we really don't know how his mind operated because it's only a few books that survive. And
would you say he has insight by reading few books?
Well, I haven't really read Aristotle directly. You see, so very few people have because it's hard, and it's very few people have actually read Aristotle. What he directly said. Most people read what other people say about it.
I see, then we're not.
But there are a few phrases of Aristotle which are common, like saying the unmoved mover, And he has seen some things, or at least which suggest that he was quite intelligent at least.
No, what I'm trying to say, insight is not partial, ever. Well, I'm talking of total insight, not partial insight.
Krishnamurti, could you explain that a little bit more? What do you mean by not partial insight?
An artist can have a partial insight. Right?
Yes, yes.
A scientist can have partial insight. I'm talking, where X is talking about total insight.
So not an insight confined by a certain area.
It's total insight.
You see, the artist is also a human being. So,
But his capture of insight is partial.
well, I don't. Why is that necessarily so? But you see, he's also. a
You
human-
discuss it, sir.
Well, is it that
Well-
it's directed toward art, painting, or whatever the art is?
Well, that's of
Yes,
course
it's
something
not-
different.
Yes. So you mean an insight that illuminates a limited area or subject? Is that what you mean by partial insight?
Yes, yes, it's directly and
Yes,
And-
it concerns that.
That's right.
Using
Oh, I understand.
then what would be total insight would encompass what?
the total human activity. Right, sir?
Right. Well, and then that is one point. But see, coming back, that it would. We were discussing before that this insight would illuminate the brain, the activity of the brain. As perhaps we're saying, and in that illumination, it seems you're saying that the activity of the brain, the material activity of the brain, will change. Would that be fair? You
Let's
see?
go slow.
Yeah, because we should get this
Yes.
point clear. Then we could raise the question of totality. Now, we're saying that insight is an energy, perhaps, which illuminates the activity of the brain, right?
Yes,
And in that illumination, the brain itself begins to act differently.
that's right, sir. That's all. You're quite right. That's what takes place. Yes. Right?
Right. Now, this illumination, we say its source is not in the material process, it has no cause,
It has no cause.
but it is a real energy,
It is, yes, it's pure
a
energy.
pure energy.
That's right, sir.
And it's like saying that we know the lightning flash has a cause, but it flashes on the ground which is not connected with the cause of what's on the ground.
Quite. That is,
Iron filings all helter-skelter. You put a magnet, suddenly they're all in order.
Well, that's a cause, you see, that's the magnetic field acts as a cause, you see.
yes, sir, that's quite right. Which means, is there action without cause? Huh?
Yes.
Of
And
course.
without time, you see.
Huh?
And cause implies time.
Time. Of course there is. That is, this flash has altered completely the pattern which material process has set.
Yes. Could you say that the material process generally operates in a kind of darkness,
In darkness, all right.
and therefore it has set itself in a
Yes,
wrong
sir.
path?
That's
right?
ignorant. That's what's called darkness.
Yeah.
The material process, naturally, sir, quite simple, that's clear. The material process acts in ignorance, in darkness. Right? And this flash enlightens the whole field.
Right.
Which means ignorance, darkness is being dispelled.
Yes.
Right. That's, I do hold to that.
Yes, well then you could say then in that sense, see, darkness, we were just saying, darkness and light cannot coexist in the sense, by obvious reasons.
Obvious.
But nevertheless, the very existence of light is to change the process
Of darkness.
Yeah.
Quite right. I hold quite right.
But what can trigger the flash?
Well, yes.
What?
What will produce the flash?
Wait, I haven't come to that yet.
Yeah.
I want to go step by step into this, otherwise we'll get...
Yes, now then let's make it very clear then that you're saying that the material process of the brain can depend on this flash which has no cause, which therefore is outside the chain of ordinary material process.
Yes.
Wait, now you don't know what, therefore all right, well that's as far as we can say, right?
So it has,
Right.
what has happened?
Yes.
The material process has worked in darkness and has brought about such confusion, all the rest of it, the mess that exists in the world. And this flash wipes away the darkness,
Yeah.
right? Which means what? The material process then is not working in darkness,
Yes.
right?
Right. But now let's make another point clear. You see that here is the flash, but it seems the light will go on.
Light goes on.
Right, but not in that immediate, it's still the light, right?
Huh?
Even the flash is gone, but the light is going on, right?
Light is there.
Yeah,
Flash is the light.
yes, but now we have to consider that, you see, you have the flash now, right? Or at a certain moment.
The flash is immediate. Yes.
Immediate, but then as you work from there is still light. You see,
Now, why do you differentiate flash from light?
well, just simply, the very word flash suggests something that happens in one moment.
Yes.
Now, we should clear this up, you see. Then we're saying your insight would only last in that moment. Now, let's clear it up, right?
Yeah.
Can we call it sudden light?
I know. Just a minute, I must go slowly.
Yeah.
What is this, sir?
Well, it's a matter of language, you see, if we don't...
Is it merely a matter of
Maybe
language?
not, but we must, our ideas, our way of looking, you see, if you use the word flash, like the flash of lightning gives you light for that moment, but then the next moment you're in darkness, right?
Yeah.
Until the next flash of
like
lightning.
that. It's not like that.
Right. So what is it? Is it that the light suddenly turns on and stays on? You see,
What?
The other view is to say the light suddenly flashes on and stays on.
No.
No, it's not that.
No, because when we put that question, stays on and goes off,
Yeah.
you're thinking in terms of time.
Yes, well, we have to clear this up because the question is one that everybody will put, you see, unless
Yes,
you
sir.
clear it.
The material process is working in darkness, in time, in ignorance, and so on, in knowledge, ignorance, all that. When that insight takes place, there is the dispelling of the darkness.
Yes.
That's all we're saying.
But the material process,
Wait, where I'm coming, dispels the darkness. And thought, which is material process, is no longer working in darkness.
Right.
Therefore, that light has altered, has ended ignorance.
Yeah. All right, so we say this light has, this darkness is really something which is built into the content of thought, right?
Content is darkness.
Yes, that's right. And
By Joel, huh?
and then the light has dispelled that the ignorance.
That's it, sir. That's right.
And
That's right. Dispel the content.
but still, we have to be very careful, since you still have content. You see,
Huh?
you still have content in the usually accepted sense of the word, like you know all kinds of things. You see,
Of course.
so we can't say it has dispelled all the content.
No. It has dispelled it has dispelled the center of darkness.
Yes, the source, the creator of
the
darkness.
self.
Yes.
Right? It has dispelled the center of darkness, which is the self.
Well, we'll say that a certain content, the self is part of the content,
Yes.
and that part of the content, which is the center of darkness, which creates it
Creates that.
and maintains it, is dispelled.
Dispelled. Yeah. The center of darkness, which has maintained the darkness,
Yes,
has been dispelled.
right.
Right, sir. I hold to that. Right. We're going on slowly.
And we say now that means a physical change in the brain cells. You
Yes.
see, that
Yes.
center, that content which is the center, is a certain set form with a disposition of all the brain cells, and that in some way alters
Of
it.
course, sir.
Right.
Obvious.
Right.
So this is so, it has enormous significance. Right?
Right.
That is, in our relationship, in our society, in our everything. Now the next question is, which Ms. Lilliford put, which is, how does this flash come about? Let's begin the other way around. How does love come about? Huh? How does peace come about? Which is not peace being causeless, violence is caused. How does that causeless thing come about when my whole life is causation? No, there is no how, right? Right? There is no how. The how implies a cause.
Yes.
So there is no how. I must stop here a bit.
Right.
We will find.
Are you saying that since it's without cause, it is something that just exists, and that
I don't say that it exists. That's a dangerous statement. Immediately.
well, it has to exist at some point.
No.
And it's outside
Right, sir?
time.
Moment you say it exists, it's not.
Well, you see, the danger is that is part of the content,
Yeah. Be careful in these things.
and
Well,
Quite
if
right.
you call it, if you're using it as content, I mean, if you're taking old concepts, but if you're saying or if I can make the next statement, it say is, and something, the mind is blocked, the brain is blocked from something that is without cause or without any time quality. But the brain is blocked. Is blocked from...
Don't use those words. No,
Well,
we've gone through all that. You're beginning all over again. No, we've gone through all that. The question Dr. Bohm, David Rowe posed was, what is the relationship between... No, why do you say insight brings about a mutation in the brain cells? That was the question. That question has been put after a series of discussions. And we have come to a point when we say that flash, that light, has no cause. And that light operates on that which has cause, which is the darkness, which is that darkness exists as long as the self is there, is the originator of that darkness. That light dispels the very center of darkness. That's all. We have come to that point. And therefore there is a mutation and so on and so on. Then the question, when she put that question, how do I get it? How does it happen? Right? That's all we are there. I say that's a wrong question. There is no how.
There's no how, but there is darkness and there is
What?
light. There is the light and the
No,
darkness.
just see first there is no how. If you show me how, you're back into the darkness. Right?
Right.
That's all. That's
Cause, yeah.
That's a tremendous thing to understand that. I'm asking something, a question, sir, which is, why is it that we have no insight at all? Why is it that it doesn't start from our childhood, this insight? You follow what I'm talking?
Well, the way life is lived, it's...
No, I want to find,
Yeah.
is it our education? Is it our society? Is it our... I don't believe it's all that. You follow what I'm...
What do you say then?
I wonder if you're making myself clear.
Right.
It's some other factor. I'm grouping after it. Let's group off it together a little bit. I'm groping after this, which is, why don't we have it? It seems so natural.
Yes. Well, at first, we'd say something is interfering with it. I mean...
No, I don't want to, then we go back. It seems so natural. For X, it is quite natural. Why isn't it natural for A, B, C, D, all the 26 letters? Why isn't it possible? If we say it's the blockade, the education, which are all causes, right?
Yes.
Then to remove the blockages implies another cause. So we keep on rolling in that direction. There's something unnatural about all this.
Because if we would say that there are blocks,
I don't want to use, that's the language of the darkness.
then we would also say that the blocks can prevent the insight from acting.
Of course, that's all. But I want to move away from these blockages.
Yeah, well, not exactly blockages, but we use the word center of darkness, you see, which we say is maintaining darkness, that something is going on.
To X, it seems so natural.
Yeah.
Why isn't it natural to everybody? You follow what I'm talking?
Yes, well, that's the question.
That's the question I'm asking. And you say blockages, the self, the society, environment, genetic inheritance. I say those are all causes. Now, why isn't it natural to everybody? Right, sir?
Right.
Why is love not natural to everybody? Am I putting
Yes,
the
well, I
question?
think you would, to make it more clear, you see, some people might feel it is natural to everybody, but being treated in certain ways, they gradually get caught in hate.
No, I don't believe it. No, sir.
All right, but then you would have to ask, suppose we were to say
No, sir.
that the young child meeting hate will still not respond with hate. You see, why is that not natural?
Yeah, that's right.
That's your question.
That's right.
Whereas, most people would say it's natural for the young child meeting hate to respond with hate, right?
Yes. This morning I heard that.
Yeah, you
all
did,
of
right?
it.
Yeah.
And then I asked myself why.
Now, if you say it would be natural to meet hate without hate,
It seems so natural. Now just a minute. X has been put under all these circumstances, right? Which could have produced darkness, which could have produced blockages, which could have blocked all the rest of it. But X wasn't touched by it. I wonder if I may.
yes, well,
Why is it not possible for everybody?
yes, well, you have to make it, I think that this line, if we could say, should make it more clear why we say it would be natural to meet immediately, not to respond to hate with hate, you see.
All right. Limited to that.
Yes, even though one hasn't thought about it, one hasn't, the child is not able to think about all these things,
Why is it possible to act, what is it?
Well, why is it possible meeting hate not to respond with hate, you see, even though a young child who hasn't thought about it, he doesn't know.
Yes, right.
He never
Very
thought.
interesting this.
Yeah. Because some people would say it would be instinct, the animal instinct.
Which is to hate.
Well, to fight back, you see.
Fight back.
The animal will respond with love if you treat him with love, but if you treat the animal with hate, he's going to fight back, right?
Of course.
He will become very vicious.
Yes.
Now, some people would say the human being at the beginning is like that animal, and later he may understand, right?
Yes. That is, the human being began his the origin with the animal, and the animal, the ape or
any animal, the dog, the wolf, the wolf will respond with love too, you see.
Yeah. I saw that picture.
Yeah.
And we are why?
Well, why is it seems? See, look, almost everybody feels what I said is true. That we are like the animal when we are young children.
Yes.
Now you're saying, why don't all young children respond immediately? Fail to respond to hate with hate, right?
I understand that. That means is it the fault of the parents?
Well, what you're implying is that it's not entirely that, you see, that there's something deeper.
Yes, sir. I think there's something something quite different.
Yeah.
I want to capture that.
Yeah, well, let's see. This is something that would be important.
Yeah. How would you find out? Let's have an insight. I feel that there is something totally different. We are attacking it from a causational point of view.
Yes.
Would it be right, sir? I'm just question mark. Would it be right to say that the beginning of man is not animal?
Well, that is not clear, you see. The present theory of evolution, which has been followed through all sorts of stages, there have been, say, apes developing, and you can follow the line where they become more and more like human beings, right?
Yes, I know.
Yes, now, when you say the beginning of man is not animal, then it's not clear.
I'm asking.
Yeah, but...
And therefore, if the beginning of man is the animal, therefore we have that instinct highly cultivated, and that instinct is natural.
Yes, and that instinct is cause and effect.
Yes, cause and effect, and therefore it's natural.
Yes.
And somebody comes along and say, is it?
Yes. All right, let's try to get this clear then.
Huh?
Let's make this clear, because you see the...
I mean, from all the scientific, historical, and all the archaeologists explored, they have said man began from the ape.
Yeah, and who began from other animals.
And that as all animals respond to love and to hate, we, as human beings, respond instantly to hate. I mean, to hate by hate.
Yeah, and to love by love, right?
Huh?
And vice versa, to love by love.
To by love.
Yeah.
Could we say that this is a question which cannot possibly be answered by a scientist?
We are scientists.
No.
Depends on what you mean.
Well, I mean it in that sense that you see science tries to explain things through primal causes, the biologist would say, well, this kind of instinct has died out, has died a natural death because man who responded to hate with love was devoured by the other animal or by the other human being.
Yeah, that's one view, that you could say that it was that would not have been helpful for survival to respond to hate with love. That there would have been a selection of people who responded to hate with hate.
That's right. That's why I feel it's not a question of that kind which can be answered by such an approach.
So, at the beginning, there were people, or there were half a dozen people who never responded to hate.
Yes.
Because they had love.
Yes.
And those people, one or two, had implanted this thing in human mind also. Right? That where love is, the other is not.
Yes.
And that has also been part of our inheritance. Right?
Right.
Because those few said this fact. And why haven't we, as human beings, cultivated to respond to hate by hate? Why haven't we cultivated the other?
Well,
You follow
yes.
it?
Yeah.
And the other is not cultivable.
They have tried to cultivate it.
No, it's not.
There's nothing.
It's not
causal.
cultivable.
It's not causal. It cannot be. Cultivation depends on cause.
On thought.
Yeah.
So, why have we lost that? If this is so.
But when you ask why have we lost it, then you could.
Huh?
If you ask why have we lost it, that implies that we have sometimes had it. You know.
No, I said no, you missed it. Perhaps
Some
the
have
man,
had it. Yeah. Some have had it.
yeah, some, that I said that, some X, Y, Z or A, B, C, when man began, said, implanted in man this thing, love, which is causeless, which is will not respond to hate. All right, that has been implanted. And we have cultivated very carefully by thought, respond to hate by hate, violence by violence, and so on. Why haven't we moved with along with the other line? You follow my question? Is this futile question, sir?
Well, you don't see any. I said one doesn't see any way of proceeding.
No, well, I'm not trying to proceed
either
of those. I say that there's something.
Yeah, well, we have to understand. As it's not, we have to understand why this thing. I mean, what made people respond to hate with hate, right? I mean, why they didn't go on, why they didn't.
The others, to X, the others seem so natural.
Yes.
To X, he never even thought about the other.
Yes.
So, if that is so natural to the X, why isn't it natural to Y and so on? If you say he's a freak, then there's no answer.
Yes.
That's a stupid way of pushing him off. There must be, if it is natural to X, it must be natural to others. Why not? Why isn't it natural? You follow my question?
Yeah.
Why? You know, this idea, this ancient idea which is probably exists in Jewish religion and Indian and so on, that the manifestation of the highest takes place occasionally. You know, you are.
Yes, well,
that seems too easy an explanation. Have we moved in the wrong direction?
what do you mean by that?
We've taken the wrong turn.
You mean mankind? Yeah, well, we've discussed that before, that there has been a wrong turning, you know, that
responding hate by hate,
Yeah.
violence by violence, and so on and so on.
Yes, and giving enormous value to
Huh?
and giving supreme value to knowledge, right?
Knowledge.
All the same.
Yeah.
Wouldn't another factor also be the attempt to cultivate the idea of love?
Oh, that's nobody does. I mean, so who says that?
Well, people, you see, if you read the literature, then people have always tried to really produce
Love?
love and better human beings. Then it's the
For
whole.
the purpose of religion. You know.
It's the
What?
purpose of religion, and it's the purpose of.
That seems so.
philosophy.
I mean, you can wipe it out by one. It's like cultivable. What? By thought?
Yes, that was the
So
idea.
by thought is a don't go into all that. Thought is no.
But-
Love is not. It has no cause. It is not cultivable. Full stop.
Yes, but you see, the mind doesn't see that.
But we explained all that, sir. I want to go into something. Forgive me, not that. I want to find out if it is natural to ABC, why isn't it natural to XY? I think this is a valid question,
Yes.
right?
Yes, or even leaving another point is to say that if you could see that the response of hate to hate just makes no sense anyway.
No sense.
And why do we go on with it? You know that.
Yes.
Because people may believe in that moment that they're protecting themselves with hate, but
Of
it
course I
doesn't.
know that.
It's no protection.
Oh, please give me some insight. It's a very good question, sir. I think it's valid. ABC of born without cause, and X, Y, Z are caught in cause. They work around that way, those don't work on that, act that way. So why not X, Y, Z? You understand? I can keep on. Is it the privilege of the few? The elitism? No, all that. Let's begin the other way around, sir. Hope it doesn't bore you.
No, go ahead.
My mind, the X mind, is the mind of humanity.
Right.
We've been through that. The mind of humanity has been responding by hate, violence and so on, knowledge by knowledge and so on. And ABC are part of humanity.
Yes.
That ABC do not respond to hate, by hate. They're part of me. They're part of excess consciousness, part of all that. Please.
Well, see, why is there this difference?
Yes, sir. That's what I'm asking. One is natural, the other is unnatural. Why? Why the difference? Who is asking this question? Just a minute. Who is asking this question? The people, X, Y, Z, who respond to hate by hate, are they asking the question? Or ABC are asking the question?
Right.
ABC seems to be asking.
Huh?
It would seem that ABC is asking this question.
I just want to
It
find out.
appears that way. I mean,
Huh?
it appears that way that ABC have asked the
Yeah,
question.
ABCs are asking that question.
But they're not different. You see, that we were just also saying that they're not different.
They're not different.
You know, we say they're different, but also they're not different. Right?
No, of course. They're not different.
Mm-hmm.
Just a minute. X, Y, Z say the ABC are different.
Mm-hmm.
ABC say we're not different.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
We're not different. Which means what? This question. How do you respond to it? Don't think about it. There is ABC, X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
X, Y, Z don't put this question. Only ABC put this question. And ABC say we are part of you.
Yes. There's one mind.
That's it.
Yes.
It's one mind.
Yes, and how does it come that another part of this one mind says no?
That's the whole thing. How does it come about that one part of the mind says we are different from ABC? Of course, there are all kinds of explanations. Karma, reincarnation, blah, blah, blah. I remove all those explanations. What am I left with? The fact that ABC are different from X, Y, Z. And that is, those are facts. Now what? Right?
They appear to be different.
Oh no.
They're actually different.
Absolutely different. Not appear. I won't.
But you say
No,
something.
that's a contradiction. And
You say two different things then.
because you said before that ABC are saying they're not different.
No, I must be clear. Oh, I'm clear. ABC do not respond to that.
Yeah. Now, why? Yes, but you see, I think the question we wanted to be sure we come back to is, why do the people who cultivate hate say that they are different from those who don't, right?
Do they say that?
I think they do, insofar as they would admit that there was anybody who didn't cultivate hate, they would say then they must be different.
Different, yes. Because that's clear. Light and darkness and so on. But I want to find out, are we moving in the right direction?
What?
That is, ABC has given me that gift, and I have not carried that gift. You follow what I mean? I've carried the other gift, but not this.
Yeah.
Why?
But did you say, sir, that it is implanted in all of them, but it has...
Of course, if man began there, as the animal, somebody there must have said, look.
But in ABC it is natural, and in the others it's latent, but has never come out. Is that it?
I'm asking that. Right, sir?
Right.
And my father has I'm talking respectfully, was responding hate by hate. Why has the son not responded in the same direction?
All right. Yeah.
Huh?
Yes, I think that it's only a question of insight. You say that to.
Which means what? He had insight right from the beginning. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right from childhood. Which means what?
What?
That I don't want to enter into this dangerous field yet. I want
maybe
to go.
later. It's,
Huh?
I mean, what is it? Well, perhaps you want to leave it.
There's some factor that's missing, sir. I want to capture it. I'm not. You see, if that is an exception, then it's silly.
All right, so we agree that the thing is dormant in all human beings. Is that what you want to say?
I'm not quite sure that's what I want to say.
But I meant that the factor is there in all mankind.
That's a dangerous statement
Yeah,
too.
well, that's what you were saying.
I know, but I'm saying questioning. I've been questioning.
All right.
When I'm quite sure, I'll tell you.
All right, but then we tried this and say it seems promising, but it's a bit dangerous. That this possibility is there in all mankind, insofar as some people have seen it. We've said.
Which means God is in you.
No, it's just that the possibility of insight is there.
No. Yes. Partly. I'm questioning all this, sir.
Yeah.
The father responds to hating that. The son doesn't.
Yes, well, that happens from time to time, you see.
No. Consistently from the beginning.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it must depend on insight, which shows the futility
Why
of
did
hate.
that chap have it?
Well, yes, why?
And he says this seems so terribly natural. It must be what is natural is to everybody. Water is natural to everybody.
Yes, well, why isn't insight present for everybody from the beginning, right?
Yeah, that's all I am asking.
So strong that even maltreatment cannot affect it.
Nothing can affect it. That's my point. I'm getting at it slowly. Maltreatment, beating, put in all kinds of situations. It hasn't affected it. Why? You follow, sir? I think we better stop.
Right.
We're coming to something. Huh?